Now, Phil, you mentioned about Indigenous Day, Indigenous Peoples Day, and again, salute to everyone who does celebrate. I think I have some lineage to Cherokee tribe myself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there was there was a story that kind of tied to that. You were saying before about people not coming because of rules or team names and stuff like that. I have an article right here I want to discuss with you. It says that the Elks president says the CFL club still recovering from disaster of the name change. Let me click that on real quick. Now, read that. Let me get this. Okay. It came from John Koranic from the Canadian Press. That as the Edmonton Elks prepare for their home opener Saturday, team president Chris Morris says the fallout from the club's 2021 name change remains one of the biggest obstacles in rebuilding support among fans. Morris, who spent 14 years on Edmonton's offensive line and won 3 Grey Cups with the club, said the franchise continues to deal with fallout from its 2021 name change. Quote, "It was a disaster in so many ways," Morris said of the transition from the Eskimos to the Elks. The club changed its name after years of criticism from Inuit leaders and organizations who said the former name was offensive and outdated. The move came amid broader pressure on sports teams to abandon names viewed as racist or stereotypical. Morris said the decision alienated some longtime supporters of one of the CFL's most storied franchises. Quote, "The people who had been local fans and the people who had grown to care and love have a lot of respect for that tradition were obviously very offended," he said. Morris said the name change, along with the COVID-19 pandemic and the team's struggles on the field, contributed to season ticket sales falling from more than 20,000 to about 7,000. Yikes. Quote, "For some, there's no way we can repair it except if we were to change our name back, and that's not viable," he said. The comments come as the Elks continue rebuilding under owner Deb Thompson, who took control of the franchise with her late husband Larry in 2024 when the club was facing significant financial challenges. Morris said the organization had stabilized financially and is working to rebuild ties with fans and the broader community. The Elks have taken steps to reconnect with their past. The club is often referred to as the Green and Gold or the Double E, and the once an Eskimo, always an Eskimo sign has returned to the dressing room. Edmonton opened the season with a 29-20 victory over Ottawa before a bye week and will host the Montreal Alouettes on Saturday, and we will definitely talk about that game. Good Lord. Quote, "We've got a lot of work to do still to rebuild that partnership, that community feeling," Morris said, "but I think we're moving in the right direction." And that was, like I said, Canadian Press from June 19th. Alright, Phil. A lot to tackle on that one, man.
Big time,
yeah. I mean, I'll get your, I want to hear your thoughts first, and, I'll share some stuff too when,
That is one of the 2 days there's a lot of division to the CFL world, and Edmonton Elks and the Edmonton old names. A lot of people want the old name back,
right.
And I'm trying to look into it. And is it one man is offended to it, or is the whole community is offended with the name? That's my question on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I don't know what the backstory to that. I need to look into that. I don't know what the backstory with the hatred on the Eskimos name, but I knew a lot of people, and I know a lot of Edmonton fans on the page want the name back. And my theory on that is you can't bring the name back, even though what it is, but they need to have another name that make it satisfied for both ends. Make it honor Inuits or something,
right?
And that's the problem is they should have had the Inuit people, like the Inuit, the spokesperson and have the Elks president. They should have had a room at this time. Say, okay, this is an offensive word. Let's find a way to have a new name, but let's put honor to your people and honor to the people of Edmonton. Like, I feel like Elks is a very generic name.
Mm-hmm. But at least has the alliteration, and they can have that old double E logo.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's. And I think they're trying to have. I think they're trying to have their KE too, because it's all about the logo.
Mm-hmm.
My question is that is this the reason why no one going to the games because of that, or is the lack of competition, or people really angry about this name change? And I think, honestly, I think it's kind of petty for the people in Edmonton to not go to the game because of name change, and because the team is actually, even the last couple of years, very entertaining to watch. So.
Yeah.
What you think about that?
I think it's a combination of things, and it reminds me very much of, I have friends who, I live an hour away from Washington, D.C., and I have friends who want the team to go back to being called the Redskins. And it's like, I went to like a party around Christmas time, they said, they were talking about current merchandise for the team. They're like saying, nobody buys Commanders or Washington football team. We want the Redskins back. They would say that. And I think with that team, there were a lot of local politicians that for years wanted them to stop calling themselves that. Within D.C. and the county in Maryland where they played, Prince George's County, they were complaining about that. And the reason they did that main reason they did that though was because FedEx, which was sponsoring their stadium at the time, and Nike both said, look, if you don't stop calling them the Redskins, we are going to stop paying you sponsorship. We're not going to pay for the stadium rights. And Nike flat out said, we're not going to sell any of your merch. We're not going to sell any of your jerseys, any of your sideline caps, nothing. So that's why they did that. And I think with DC, I think this is what I think is going on with Edmonton. It's a combination. It's like a lot of the old heads want the name back. But a lot of it also is because with Dan Snyder, he said, okay, this is just yet another bungle by Dan Snyder. Just a lot of mismanaging, and then the team was starting to, have some bad years too, and then they had the scandals with the cheerleaders. I actually know one girl who cheered for Washington and then came up to cheer for Baltimore. She told me some stuff. It was just a combination of things. It was just one more thing, and it's like they were mad at the owner. And I'm getting the feeling that with Edmonton, you have the old heads that want the names back, but a lot of it, I think, is just because of poor performance on the field and the ownership. They're kind of like, they probably feel like they might be mad at this woman who owns the team now and probably feel like she can't, get out of her own way, and it's just a lot of bad blood and all. It's just, I don't know. That's the take I get, and I've read other comments where some people thought it was like a sponsorship thing too, but I think it's more just the name and, yeah.
No, I gotta ask you a question on that. Like, is and no offense if people have Inuit blood and stuff I'm saying.
Right.
Is Eskimos get is that like a derogatory word to Inuit people, or just
I believe it is. I think that's why they did it. It's like a slur, just like Redskins. Now, I like your idea of consulting the Inuit community because for years we've had that controversy in this country with a lot of pro and college team names. But some teams like the Redskins and the Cleveland Indians, they kiboshed that. But then they tried to do it with some college teams. Syracuse eventually changed from the Orange Men to the Orange. They were talking about doing that with Florida State, but the Seminole tribe is near the Florida State campus, and they rejected it. They were like, no, that's our team. They represent us. That's like our own team. Don't change that name. So I think and then over time you saw some teams like them, the Chicago Blackhawks, any team that had like a tribal, name of an official tribe, they kept. But then you had, like I said, with the Redskins and the Indians, which kind of surprised me about the Atlanta Braves. But I read somewhere too that I don't know, that was kind of considered like almost like a tribal name. But yeah, so.
They did that for the Guardians too, and then they changed their name to that. I always ask the question to people is like, y'all quick to change that name, but how come no one quick to change the name to the Cowboys, the Dallas Cowboys?
Right.
And I was like, the Cowboys did a lot more bad stuff than Native American people.
Right.
You know? Yeah. And it was just like, my thing is basically, it's a hard thing to say about because I can understand from both sides,
right.
But you have to. That's a problem. These sports people had to talk to the people like the Native American indigenous people about this. Like, hey, do you want this name? If you don't mind, can we have this name? Can you support this name? If you don't like the supporters, let's come to a compromise of a new name. You know what I mean? Or stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of ownership want to, like, their ego and their pride, they don't want to back down to anyone. But
I think it's a few things too. You have like a bunch of different camps. There's a political divide with that. And sometimes you want a team to make you sound tough. I mean, you have Raiders, you have Pirates, you have Buccaneers. God knows what they did back in the day to people. But you know what? It kind of like gives them, they want an edgy name. I was watching a commercial, I was listening to the radio with my girl the other day. They were advertising about the TBT, the 3-on-3 basketball league. And they listed and for a while they just had team names without the cities. Well, they had one team called the LA Riot.
I remember, I see that. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's...
I'm like, that's worse than, those things is worse than, people died.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, that's...
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's like calling a team in Boston the Boston Massacre or Oklahoma City the Oklahoma City Bombers or something like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and it's like that's the worst thing, and I feel like, and it's so hard to think of. It's hard to say anything like that. It's like
yeah.
I feel like you just need to talk to the people about this. You need to talk to the Inuit people. You need to talk to the people in Edmonton about it because I think this is a good team, man. I think. And it's a shame that people are not going to games. And, we will talk about the Montreal-Edmonton game. And I understand it was raining, but it felt, you watched the game, it felt like it was 100 people at that game.
Right.
I don't know if it was all under the, what I call so they don't want to get soaked and rain, but it was like.
It's probably a lot of it. It's probably a lot of people in the, I don't know, the aisles, watching, from, near the concession stands and stuff like that. The rain games are probably misleading with the crowds and all. One thing I noticed, I don't know if it's kind of a coincidence, but this game was at Edmonton, it rained. The previous game was at Ottawa and it rained. I'm thinking, man, if your team's playing Edmonton, look at the weather forecast. It's like, they're bringing rain with them or what?
Yeah. Well, hey, Winnipeg did rain. They're 0-1 in the rain, so who knows,
Right, exactly.
I gotta check the weather of that. but yeah, so it's a very touchy situation up in Edmonton, and a very touchy situation about indigenous people. I don't know what's a word that you can honor. You may have to have a word that honor them instead of like, okay, we're gonna call ourselves an Elks because that seems like it's a cop out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, yeah. But again, it's the alliteration with a name, and animals are probably the easiest thing to generate logos from merch and stuff like that. So I get that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they could have came up with, I don't know, like you said, I don't know if they get like a tribe that's prevalent throughout that part of Alberta or something. They could have gone with something like that, but I don't know.
Like I talked to a couple Ottawa fans, they want the Rough Riders name. They still want the Rough Riders name back. And this is back then when they like, oh, we came back as the Renegades and they disappeared. They came back as the Red Black. They thought they're gonna be they thought they're gonna be the Rough Riders. I'm like, it's kind of confused. That was one thing I was very confused at that time. Like, there was two Rough Riders.
And they had them separated. It's like, I think Saskatchewan had it all as one word, and now Ottawa had it as two words, rough, and then riders. There was even a joke with the Baltimore team, when we couldn't call ourselves the Colts, somebody suggested calling themselves Rough Riders. So why not? You got two teams in the league called that. Call them. You guys said it too. You know? Except they already had the horse logo and would have looked and sounded stupid anyway. But yeah, it was.
I remember, and here's the thing, I remember the Baltimore Stallions, and I had a pennant at that, and it was the Baltimore CFLers.
Right.
And the first year, I was like, what? Because I guess NFL did not want them to use the Colts or something like that. And I'm like,
but there was still some merch out there, Phil, because they had a rally after the first Grey Cup at Memorial Stadium, and they had a vendor selling pennants that said CFL Colts on it. That was at the end of the season. Yeah, I don't think he was. You know, he was kind of like a. I guess it's like maybe he bought like a bunch of them a while back or something. I don't know, but it was. I still have a jacket that says that, and I think I got a few other things too. But